Welcome to the Dig podcast. I am your host, Caroline O'Neill, and I love to discuss all things online marketing, managing money, collaborations, making that killer pitch, and developing that product that will make millions, as well as so many other topics that will inspire you in your business. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Dig podcast. It's my absolute privilege to speak to thousands of you each week. Remember, I love to know when you've listened, so screenshot the episode and post on social, tagging me on Dig for Success and Dig Mama, and I will reshare with my audience. I'd also love if you could leave a review for the Dig podcast on whatever your favourite platform is, Apple, Spotify or YouTube. I love to see all your reviews. Welcome to the Dig podcast. This week I am talking about a topic that I know affects so many people, and maybe people don't talk about it as much as I have in the past, but social media can cause problems within your family. And there's a reason for that. And I always talk about this a lot, about the things that it takes to be successful in business and in turn on social media. And what I mean by successful is your business reaping the rewards of the content that you're creating. And it takes consistency, determination, and a never give up attitude. And it takes those things to succeed in business, but also if you want to raise your profile on social, you need to be consistent, you need to be determined, and you need to not give up. So when you take that approach, it consumes a lot of your time. And I suppose I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what happened to me a few years ago and how I fixed that within my family and the results of that conversation. So being on social media is something I really, really enjoy, but there was a time when I didn't enjoy it because it started to affect my family dynamics. And I know that might sound dramatic, but it absolutely did. And I'd say there's going to be people listening to this that are going through or have gone through the exact same thing. So the realization of what it takes on social wasn't hard for me to deal with. I realized that it was going to take consistency, and I realized that my business could only grow when I did that. And I was prepared to do the hard work, to put in the slog, to be consistent. But I guess the effect that it had on Jared and the kids was not something that I was prepared for. So here's what happened. Whenever I was in Dig Children's Wear, for those listening that didn't know, I used to have a shop, and I suppose the whole online space was growing. We're talking like 4 or 5 years ago, and probably more now when you think of the pandemic in between. But I soon realised that I needed to be everywhere on social to get the sales that I needed to grow my business and grow the e-commerce side of my business. So I threw myself into social media, and with that came, and I've talked to Jared, I talk about this a lot publicly at events and now on the podcast, and Jared knows I share this story and he's fine with it, but he looked at me being on my phone as a negative. And he would have said to me, that old statement, you're always on your phone. And that actually started to negatively impact how I behaved and how I thought about, first of all, my work and what I was doing in the evenings. So if I worked all day in the shop, I would come home, get the kids sorted, into bed, and then I would go on my phone. But I wasn't on my phone being social or scrolling or looking at things and consuming my time that way. I was actually posting, responding to customers' inquiries, checking my online sales, making sure the email marketing campaigns were set up, all the things I actually, as a small business owner, didn't have time to do during the day. I was actually doing that at night. But when someone sees you on your phone, they automatically assume it's not work. So what started to happen was, if I seen Jared coming, and there might be people laughing that they do the same, I would have hid my phone. Or if he had said, what are you doing? I'd have been like, nothing. And then comments like, you're always on your phone, you're never off that phone, I don't know how you do it, you're always on the phone. And then the kids started to hear that kind of language being used as well. And then they started to say to me, Mummy, you're always on the phone. Mummy, you're always on the phone. So that turned into a negative thing within our house, where it actually could cause rise at times, where I would, challenge that with, aggressive kind of language, like, I'm on this phone because I have to work, blah, blah, blah. So that wasn't the right way for me to be able to grow that side of the business whenever it was deemed as a negative within the house. So I realized I had to have a conversation, and I know it might sound airy-fairy and, sit down and speak to someone, but actually I did. I remember one night sitting down with Jared and saying, Jared, I feel really upset about this because, I am not on my phone to take time away from our family. I'm actually working. And I said, you need to start looking at my phone as a different thing than what you see it as a negative. So I explained it to him, and this is the analogy I used, and perhaps you could use it within your own home environment as well, to explain to your partner or whoever may not understand the situation that we're in as business owners needing to be on social. So Jared's a welder. And I said to Jared, if you came home from work every day and you got your dinner and you sorted things out, and you said to me, I'm going back out to the shed here to weld, to make another trailer, to make another whatever it may be you're making, I would automatically be like, fair play, that's brilliant, go on ahead, sure, whatever time you're in, I'll be here, and sure, that will result in another sale for you with the piece of equipment you're doing, which in turn brings in more money to our home, where we can then have the things that we need: groceries, heat, light, whatever essentials. And that would be seen as a positive, and I would be saying, brilliant, fair play, Jared, you're working hard and I'm so proud of you. And I said, Jared, my phone is my welder. My phone is me working after hours to increase sales, to grow my business so we can have the things that we need. My phone is my welder. And he said straight back to me that night, I never looked at it like that. I've never thought of it like that. And me explaining that to him and how much it meant to me to be able to lift that phone freely, to not be afraid to share in the work that I'm doing with him, actually would have such a positive effect on my mental health as well, that I wouldn't have anxiety about it. And I explained how much it meant. It was the realization with him, and I seen it in his face. He said, I never saw it like that. And I said, if someone came to your door inquiring about a trailer, I wouldn't tell you not to go or not to answer it. It's the same way on social. If someone's inquiring, sending a message, posting underneath a picture, it's my job to reply to that. And since that day, that night that I had that conversation with Jared, it's changed. Everything has changed. He now doesn't use that negative language to me. When he's speaking about social media and my work, which in turn the kids now no longer say to me, they realise mummy's working and that's her work. And that has helped me so much. It's freed me mentally to actually embrace what I'm doing and not be afraid to do my overtime and do my work, which is absolutely needed in business and whenever you're embracing social media. So that has helped. I've also had the conversation with my mummy, because she's obviously of a different generation and sees the phone as well, did see the phone as a negative. And I had to, once I seen how positive that effect that conversation had with Jared and my family, I then did it with my mum. And she now said, like, oh, you're working, that's fine. And the phone is deemed as my work. And I need that. I need that freedom of their mindset to let me be free to do what I need to do. And it's helped so, so much. Now, obviously, you have to set boundaries to yourself so that social media doesn't consume your life, because that's absolutely not what this conversation is about. It's about looking at your work as a positive thing and not a negative, but you have to then set boundaries where you're not working late into the night, you're not looking at your screen at times when you should be spending time with your family. And I have set those boundaries for myself, and I try as much as I can to stick to them. When we're in a busy period, or I'm selling an online course, or I'm doing tickets for an event and I need to be on my phone more, I don't beat myself up about that, because that's your business and it needs you at that time. But then I'm able to step away when I need to, and through all of that, I haven't been dealing with any negative energy from my family. And that's so, so important, because you shouldn't be ashamed of working hard. We all work hard, and we need to when we're on social. So my family now support me, encourage me, and it's affected the family dynamics greatly, because that open communication has happened. So I urge you, if you're having that kind of situation within your house, to not ignore it and to speak about it, perhaps use this analogy about what I've done within your home and say, I know you're not saying a welder, but turn it around to what their work is and explain why it's so important and why that consistency and determination and hard work is needed to succeed in that online space. So yes, that's what I'm leaving with you with today. That's my a little bit of insight into how I changed that and how it has had a positive effect on myself, my family, and my business. So talking really gets you through so much, but explaining just why it's so important will definitely help. So let me know if you listen to this podcast and you've been able to put any of those tips into practice. I'd be interested to hear what your partner said, what your kids have said, and just if it's had the positive impact that it has had in my life. So thank you for listening to the Dig podcast this week. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to tuning in with you all next week. Remember, if you do listen to an episode, screenshot it and share it on social. Remember to tag me so that I see it and I can reshare on my platform. I love to see everyone tuning in each week. It has been an honour to be your host. I look forward to our next episode.